Hello everyone. Welcome to LFI Educates. Today we will be learning about friction, an important force, air resistance, and patterns of falling. Before we start, I would like to remind all of you to complete and submit your assignments on time. And do call me if you have any doubts. Friction, an important force. What is friction? Friction is the force that appears when two objects are in contact with each other. For example, when we rub our hands together, we can feel the force of friction. Or when we push a heavy object, it is difficult to push it due to friction. And when we use the eraser, we can feel the force of friction. When we rub two objects against each other, it becomes hot. This is due to friction. This is also the reason why our hands become warm when we rub them together. Friction acts to oppose motion. This means it is because of friction the box does not slide down the slope. If the slope is a smooth surface, the box will slide down easily. This is because friction decreases if the surface is smooth. So what we can learn from this is that friction differs from one surface to another. The weight of an object also changes the amount of friction. Object which weighs more will have more friction than an object with less weight. This is the reason why it is more difficult to push a heavy object than a lighter object. The other factor that changes the amount of friction is the surface area. As of now, the surface area in contact with the surface is big. So this means the amount of friction will be more. Now if I change the surface area, now the surface area in contact with the surface is less. So the amount of friction will be less. We use a forcemeter to calculate frictional force. We attach an object to the force meter and pull the hook. When the object just starts to move, the reading in the force meter is the frictional force. Air resistance. If a person jumps from a plane using a parachute, we notice that the person falls slowly and safely. This is because when the person falls, the gravity will pull the person down. But there is another force acting on the person and the parachute. The force in upward direction, which is known as air resistance. This force balances the force of the weight, so the person falls slowly. Since the parachute is falling through the air, the upward force is given by the air. When two forces cancel each other like this, we say that the force is balanced. The amount of air resistance is more in a parachute because the parachute has a large area. This means if a parachute is small, we will not fall slowly. Air resistance is like friction. It slows down anything that is moving. You must have noticed that birds, aeroplanes, and even boats have a pointed tip. This shape is known as streamlined shape. It helps to reduce friction and air resistance so that they can move easily. Patterns of falling. When an object falls, the speed increases as it falls down. This is because lower the object reaches, lesser will be the air resistance and it falls down due to the force of gravity. The picture here shows the position of the ball at regular interval of time as it falls. We see that as it falls, the distance is increasing. This means it is falling more quickly than the previous picture. The ball falls very quickly on the ground because of its shape. The amount of air resistance will be less on a ball. This will happen only if there is little air resistance and does not balance the weight of the object. Around 400 years ago, an Italian scientist, Galileo, wanted to investigate how things fall. That time, they did not have a high-speed camera like how we have now. He climbed the Leaning Tower of Pisa and dropped two iron balls at the same time. One was bigger and the other smaller. Everyone thought the bigger ball would fall faster as it was more heavy. But Galileo said that both would fall at the same time, and he was correct. Both the balls fell at the same time. Even though the bigger ball was heavier, due to the shape of the ball, less air resistance was acting on the balls. Hence, both fell at the same time. Do you think it would be the same in Moon? It would not be, as the force of gravity is very low and there is no air resistance. With this, the lesson comes to an end. I hope all of you will go through the chapter thoroughly and understand it. This is all for today. Thank you and stay tuned for LFI Educates.